Okay, the time is now 5 p.m. and I call this administrative meeting of the City Council of Ozark to order. If you have not already done so, please make sure you have signed in at the back of the room, and at this time, please make sure that you silence or turn off your cell phones. We begin this evening with a public hearing regarding a local vaping tax. So I call this public hearing open. Is there anyone here for or against the local vaping tax? If you would like to speak on it, I would invite you to either one of the microphones.
Which microphone?
Either one is completely fine.
Good evening, members of the council. My name, you don't hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. My name is Garrett Saucer. I'm General Counsel and Director of Governmental Relations for WL Petrie Wholesale. We're a family-owned Alabama business, started in Crenshaw County over 125 years ago, still owned by the same family. I'm also here on behalf of Home Oil, who does business in Dale County and the city of Ozark as well. I'm here in opposition of the excise tax that's been proposed on the vapor law, and I have a few bullet points to talk about, but I would begin, first of all, with the impact that it would have on your local businesses, your small businesses, if enacted. I realize there's guidance that's recently gone out. We obviously have the state vapor tax law that has been enacted by our General Assembly that goes into effect statewide October 1st, 2026. That will be a tax of 10 cents per milliliter on this class of vapor products. It will be enacted statewide, and should this council opt not to pass this local excise tax, the city of Ozark will be entitled to a share of 25% of that tax that is collected by the state based on population. If the council does vote to enact this tax, the city of Ozark cannot collect any of those funds collected by the state at that point. These products are controversial. I'm not going to argue the merits of them either way. I don't smoke. I don't vape. I don't want my kids to smoke. I don't want my kids to vape. But these products are legal. They are heavily, heavily regulated. And like I said, I work for a business. I was a homicide prosecutor for the better part of the last decade. I'm a law and order guy. I wouldn't go to work for this company if they weren't a responsible distributor of these products. Home Oil that's here and does business is a fixture in this community and in the Wiregrass, and they are reputable vendors of these products and follow the guidelines. Our goal in all of this is to put the trunk slammers out of business, the folks that are out selling the fruity pebble flavored stuff that everybody is worried about getting in the hands of young folks and stuff like that. And I can guarantee you that the places that sell those and that your consumers here are going to be forced into the arms of should this tax be enacted, because it will, on October 1st, 2026, it will be a double tax burden on your retailers and ultimately on your consumers here. And they're going to say, well, I think I'm going to go right outside the city limits and buy my stuff there, or I'm going to go get it from somebody else. And then you're obviously, I don't have to give you a lesson on economics, but that's going to be revenue that the city would unfortunately possibly miss out on. Again, these products for now are here to stay. They are heavily regulated. Folks are going to get them, and I'm talking about responsible adult users. They're going to buy them. We want them to buy and pay every cent of tax. We pay a lot in tax on tobacco and cigarette taxes and non-cigarette tobacco taxes. We're happy to pay our fair share. What we don't want is for municipalities, local governments, and jurisdictions like Ozark to have their small businesses disadvantaged should this come into place. And I'll be very frank with you, I was in Decatur up in North Alabama yesterday, talking about some of these points with the city council up there. I don't think it had occurred to them at that point that they would actually not, they will have opted out of getting anything from the state here today. So I think they're doing a more in-depth review of the law and what's coming, what comes with it if you do pass it. So my ask tonight is, I think the state is wholly prepared and wholly ready, and that's what our state legislature intended, was to levy this tax on these products beginning October 21st and to disperse it just like the law says. If for some reason the council does pass this local tax, it goes into effect any sooner than October 21st, 2026, like if it goes into effect, your retailers here will have a scarlet letter on their head, and they'll be having to fight with their hands tied behind their back, because they will literally be singled out. I realize some municipalities are doing it, most of them, I understand it right now, are not. Y'all, your folks here, your small businesses here, who are trying to do things the right way, will be singled out, and if they folks just won't go to them to get these products when they're selling a legal product just like everybody else is. The other problem with this, and I will wrap up. I think everybody's time's done. The whatever enforcement and collection mechanism there is. And look, we have state contracts with Alabama Department of Corrections, ABC. We are big fans of enforcement. Enforcement helps legitimate businesses like us. We want enforcement. We want tax collection. It runs off those who aren't doing business like that. But whatever scheme goes into effect on the municipal level will be a burden on your local retailers here. And I'm talking about point of sale issues, because these products, you may have a red one and a green one. The red one that somebody comes in and wants to buy may have 7 milliliters of the vape product in it. And then another brand may have a 10 milliliter. And so they've got to keep track of those. It's not like selling a 12-ounce can of beer or a 12-ounce can of beer. These are all different things that's taxed by the milliliters. So that creates a lot of enforcement and collection issues, which I don't know if the infrastructure is there, but it will be a burden on folks who are out there trying to do business the right way, when the state is already ready and will have that infrastructure hopefully up and running by the time the state goes into it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much.
I have a question. Has anybody figured in the amount that we've sold in Ozark? Has anybody done those figures? How much tax we collect off of that already?
We have our tobacco numbers and how much they've decreased over the past few years. So that's giving us our idea of
I just can't picture it being that much compared to what the state does statewide, and if we opted into it and didn't do ours. I mean, I can't see where we would benefit a lot by doing our tax here myself personally.
So if I can give you a couple of figures just based on our internal numbers and some information I learned yesterday. For the sake of scale and scope here, the city of Decatur, Alabama, over the last 2 years, WL Petrie, my company, has paid just over $260,000 in cigarette tax stamps and other non-cigarette tobacco taxes. Okay, that's Decatur, obviously. The horse of a different color.
Yeah.
City of Ozark, the last 2 years combined, we have paid a little over $18,000
For 2 years.
for 2 years for the similar taxation and licenses. And yesterday, I have no idea what the basis of this projection was from, but it was from an official with the city. We had quite a dialogue out about it, because I think they were learning a lot as I was talking, quite frankly. And their projection was they thought they would get $50,000 in revenue between October 1st of this year and October 1st of next year when the state law comes in. I think that projection, from what I understand, is that projection is very high, and that's still pretty. I mean, I'm not saying 50,000 is anything to sneeze at, but I don't think those numbers are quite worth passing a new tax. It's never. Y'all know government's real good at adding new taxes, not very good at taking on them.
You mentioned in your synopsis part was non-tobacco,
Non-cigarette,
non-cigarette.
which would be your pouches, snuff, chewing tobacco, and stuff like that.
Chris, for the sake of, the citizens knowing, having a little knowledge, can you kind of give us your background on it and what you received from the state, what you know to the audience? For instance, we mentioned the tobacco tax. Okay, it's roughly over 16,000 to Ozark per month. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't break it down by
We just have an
month.
annual.
I have an annual, in 2020, we collected $272,201 in tobacco tax. In 2021, we collected $277,984 in tobacco tax. That was the highest that it's been within this time frame. For this year projected, 2025, we will project, because we still have this last month that we have to collect, only $193,175. Where's it gone? It's gone to vaping. That's where it's gone. So vaping has taken away from that tobacco tax, and they haven't been taxed. Now, the assumption is that, or the reference has been made that it's double taxation. I have to disagree with this double taxation. If you declare that double taxation, because the state's going to get theirs, and then if we incorporate our ordinance here, you got a local tax. Well, how is our sales tax come? Sales tax is 4% local, 4% state, and 1% county. That's 9%. So that's 3. So in that aspect, you're looking at it as triple taxation. That's not the case. So
You still double taxing one product.
When I talked to Representative Klaus, he said we would get either or. Either you get the state's allotment or you get what we collect in the city. You don't get both.
That's
Well,
correct. That's
but
That's
right.
what I'm
But
trying
the
to figure out what would be the big.
consumer ends up getting the 20% tax. And they go to buy it.
Well,
They pay it.
only if the wholesaler or retailer passes that along to the consumer, because
I'm sure
our
they
ordinance
would.
is based
They
on
do.
wholesaler,
I'm sure
which
they
is what
would.
they're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's still that deficit that we're having to overcome. Now, my argument is a local tax is better than the state tax, because the state can go in and change whatever they want to when they want to, as far as the collection, changes. If we do it, we know what it's going to be. It's the 10 cent per milliliter for us, 10% milliliter for the state. And you can look at it that way, but a tax is a tax. The tobacco tax, how is that done? There's a state tax, there's a city tax. Why would you do vaping any different than the tobacco tax? That's my only, point.
On the tobacco tax, do they take it away from us so if we tax it? Is it set up
No.
the same way?
No, it's
So we
not.
still get ours and part of the state.
No. The state gets
The
theirs
state
and we
gets
get
theirs
ours.
and we only get
Right.
ours.
And so that's my argument is, why would we do vaping any different than the tobacco tax? Because that's where the deficit, that's where we're losing, is the vaping tax, because they haven't been taxed for these years, and that product has been around for 5 years at least, is going to be around for a lot longer. Tobacco, I don't know when, or if it'll ever go away completely, but it's definitely moving more towards vaping than tobacco tax. If we don't incorporate this tax now, we won't ever get the opportunity to do it again. Same way when the tobacco tax was passed, if you didn't do it at that point, you weren't going to have the opportunity to do it ever again. The county is in that same situation. 67 counties in the state of Alabama. There was only one that passed the act when they could. Now you got 66 other counties that missed out on the opportunity. They're going to be solely at the discretion of the state as to force whatever they receive there.
All right, council members, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Saucer anymore? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I realize you're up against the gun, but just because you have a small amount of time to do something, to make a big decision, doesn't mean making that decision in the affirmative is the best solution. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in attendance that would like to speak for or against the local vaping tax? Okay. Yes, sir.
Has it been determined that vaping is a lot safer, much safer than smoking cigarettes?
That all is, so there is science both ways, honestly. But all of your, and I'm sure that Attorney Saucer would say, yes, there are the people that say that vaping is safer than smoking tobacco because you're not actually inhaling fire and it's a synthetic. But then there are also people who say that it harms you in different ways than tobacco as well. So that is not what we're up here for the
I
merits
understand, but
of.
what does science say? If anybody find out? Because look like we've had a big drop in cigarette use, and that was one of the things we were trying to do. And there's been a big drop. So if you're penalizing, in my opinion, you're penalizing people for trying to get healthy. You're penalizing them because they're vaping, and that's what we want them to do. Vaping doesn't cause cancer, doesn't cause heart disease. I don't know.
No,
what
you
does science say?
are still inhaling toxins that still harm
I
your
understand
body.
that. We do that when we walk out in the street. But as opposed to vaping and cigarettes, there's a big difference in what he just reported there. 166,000 from 200,000. Somebody's leaving cigarettes alone. It looks like that's what we were encouraging our young people to do. But if we don't know what the difference is health-wise, if the kids are becoming more healthy about vaping.
Well, you're trying to say that vaping is healthy and
No,
it's
I didn't. I'm
not. Well,
asking.
I'm sorry. That it is still a toxin that still at school it is discouraged. It is not legal. It is still not legal on campuses. It's still.
Because as it relates to cancer, heart disease, how does it relate? Everybody know.
No, because that's not what, I mean, we're just here for the
But
tax
I think the
portion.
decision should be made, some have take that in mind. It look like we're just penalizing people. I mean, we're trying to raise money. I pay attention to the guys in Alabama, have a tendency to want to tax that they are not doing. I think you have very few people in the State Department who vapor, but I bet 90% of them drink alcohol. But we don't tax alcohol like that.
But we do. But we do. We definitely do. Yes, we do.
We don't tax alcohol like that.
But we
Yes,
do.
there are taxes on alcohol, there's taxes on gasoline. But when there's a situation where we need tax, we go to that they are not doing.
That's correct. That is what everyone does that enacts a tax. They go, what is not taxed that we can look at taxing?
Okay.
That your assessment is correct.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes.
Mr. Salsa had another question.
Yes.
I appreciate the gentleman. I think he's on the right track, and in time's sake, I didn't point this out. Vape is combustible tobacco products, cigarettes, cigars, all that stuff is in the past. That is being phased out by vaping. Vaping, big tobacco will tell you, it is a cessation tool. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But even FDA guidance, in the last 2 years, we've had a lot of flip.
There has been so much back and forth. Yes.
But even the FDA agreed then and agrees now that vapor products are safer for human consumption than combustible tobacco products. And I do agree with what he's saying. These are products that, while not abstinence from tobacco, they are a safer alternative, and they're a valuable tool for getting people to stop combustion. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
So once again, if that's the direction that it's going, why would we miss out on an opportunity for the taxing of that going forward? That's my
We're gonna
argument.
get part of it. We're gonna get
Well,
that tax.
but what I'm saying, you're not doing the comparison. You're not comparing apples to apples.
But for
If you-
statewide though, Chris, the
It
whole
is-
state of Alabama sales.
All right, so let's just say that the whole state of Alabama, how many, and that's the crystal ball question. We don't know how many municipalities are excluding themselves from the state side and doing their own. That's the crystal ball question. But that pool is based on that. So if you have multiple municipalities that are doing the ordinances and are, absolving themselves from that and collecting that, and the direction that the vaping is going, if we don't do this now, we've missed out on that going forward. I mean, we get a portion of it, but not what we could be collecting by what's actually being collected and sold inside the city limits of
There's
Ozark.
no way of knowing which.
There
way
is,
we're gonna get
there's
the most.
absolutely no way of knowing.
Not till
That's
it's done.
correct.
There's no way of knowing.
No,
That's correct.
as far as which way's better.
Right. There's no way of knowing which way's better.
That's
Because-
correct.
Because here's another point. Dothan's already passed their
They
10%.
have.
Right, and for the same theory that people go to in Dothan Enterprise to get gas because it's cheaper, because we have that tax. If Dothan already has a tax, we don't know what Enterprise is doing. So their customers will come to us,
Easy drive up to the.
easy drive up 231 to buy their product from us to save, in their mind,
And here's an additional.
little
on that.
pennies. Same thing they do for gas. People brag about it all the time, going to Dothan Enterprise to get their gas. 'cause it's
In addition to that too, is while they're here doing that, who says they don't swing through McDonald's drive-through, grab a burger, fill up for gas while they're here or
in the
something?
long run.
And it would turn in more revenue outside the fact. That's just my logic.
Yes.
I'm fine.
Well,
Nothing.
Yes, sir?
yeah, listening to Chris talk, and that's what we don't know, the crystal ball effect
Correct.
as to what this would do for the city of Ozark. But now looking at the overall tobacco tax, and we're talking the amount that Chris mentioned earlier, I just threw out some numbers. When you look at the bigger pool of the states, 2.5% is what we would get. I mean, we're looking at 5% to the state, 2.5% to the county, and 2.5% to the municipality. That's correct, right, Chris?
Well, the way the act reads, it's 50% automatically goes to the state right off the top. Then
That's
25%.
Oh, that's
That's
who's
the
saying
five-
5
that's the
cents.
5%.
5 cents. Okay,
50%
yes,
being
yes.
5%. And the other 50% is split between the county and the city, which is 2.5 each,
Mhm,
both ways.
mhm.
Okay, so if we threw out some numbers and we said the state did 500,000
Mhm.
and we were in the pool and just looking at 6 or 7 counties, if it was $7,462, and that was our share.
It's shared
I
by
mean,
population.
Right, understood. And we got 4 municipalities basically in Dale County.
Mhm.
And even if they shared it by population, and we were all the same population, if our share was $1,865, that would be more than what we're getting now, which is around, I guess, $932 or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Looking at the bigger pool. And we don't know because it's a crystal ball.
You're right.
like you said.
And
But
that's
we
the-
do know that it's 1,600 or better per month out of, 11 months that we got to base it on the whole tobacco tax. That's what I'm talking about.
Correct,
Which this vaping would be only a portion of that.
correct.
I yield.
Well, that's just the question. So, I mean, I've pulled numbers, I've read the bill, I've done all, if you've run the numbers and done to the best of your ability, then you will just vote your conscience on it. Is there anyone else here for or against the local vaping tax? Yes.
So just wanted to make a comment about, this has been done in the past. So that's a big problem in corporate America, in our society, just because it's done some way doesn't always mean that that was the right way for it to be done. And then with this tax, this is going to impact low-income families. It just is. Cigarettes are expensive, but low-income families still smoke. They still pay the tax. And this is asking that those citizens who vape pay more, and then the money that is collected by the state, those are doesn't even get. That's just my point that I wanted to make, is everybody understands that the state's gonna take that money and then we don't get it back.
Yeah. It's just that we get the 20, where our portion of the 25%, and that is that the state gives us now. If they change it, then we don't get anything. And that was the reason for putting this before us now, is to see if we would like to put the local addition for us to be able to control, because the state tax in essence is out of our hands and we're just subject to that.
Madam President, I want
Yes.
to say something else too.
Yes.
One thing we do know, local government does not have home rule. Everything is set by the state down to the local government, basically. The state is telling us that either we do that 10% now, or we'll never have another opportunity. However, at the state level, we all know they can
They
change
can do
their taxes
whatever
at
they
any
want,
time.
yes.
So 2 years from now,
They
4
can
years
take it
from
away.
now, at the
Yeah.
state, they may increase it from 10 to 12
Correct.
or 14%.
Correct.
We would be getting that 14 as opposed to that 10,
Or they could,
or we would be getting 1/4 of that 14.
say we're going to keep it at that, but then the
Right.
municipalities really only get
Right.
5% of what the entire state brings in, because that's just the crystal ball.
We can't control all
We
that.
can't control
Right,
that.
right.
That was the reason this is
But
being
I don't
posed
wanna,
for
I
us.
don't wanna disadvantage, as Mr. Sarkis
Yeah.
said, disadvantage a small business.
Yes,
Right.
That's our.
yes.
Right.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against? Yes.
Most of y'all know I smoke cigarettes, okay? And as a smoker, and anybody that vapes, or at least vapes nicotine,
Speak up.
it's just as addictive as smoking cigarettes. So for somebody who wants their nicotine, you will drive out of your way to go find cheaper if you need it. And so if I'm on my way down to Dothan and Midland City doesn't have the tax, guess where I'm gonna buy my vape if I'm vaping? But if Ozark doesn't have a vaping tax above and beyond what the state's charging, guess who's coming to Ozark to buy their vapes? But guess what else they're gonna do while they're in Ozark? Because they're gonna find another reason to come to Ozark. Because they have to. You don't just go to Dothan to buy gas. You go to Dothan to shop. You happen to get gas while you're down there. You don't just go to Dothan to eat out at dinner, eat dinner or something. You usually have something else you're doing. You don't go down there for a fast food restaurant. So when you think about it from the other side, if we're the cheaper place, they're going to come here and they're going to spend their money here. And that's going to increase what's spent in our town. So that increases our sales taxes as well. Because this tax is above and beyond the sales tax, am I correct?
It is above and beyond the sales tax. But one point of that, the only counter to if somebody is in Dothan, that means they would have to pass through the county and Midland City and Pinkard and all that to get to us. And if somebody's
Stores are
just
actually
going,
in the county on.
well, yeah, but if they're going to just stop and get a vape, they're passing through how many gas stations to get to us? So I don't disagree with
But that's
the
what I'm saying,
coming
they're not
shopping.
just going to stop to get a vape, they're gonna find another reason for coming to Ozark. I feel like, oh, my sister's up there, I'm gonna go visit my sister, my friend's up there, I'm gonna go visit my friend. Hey, we need to go by the smoke shop, by the way. My daughter vapes, and she meets friends at the smoke shop to go buy vapes together. Like, this is a thing that they do. And she's 25. This is a lot of the age group that we're talking about, is 25-year-olds. We're not talking her age group. People with common sense that are like, yeah, no, I ain't driving that far. Okay. I'm looking in Ozark for where the cheapest cigarettes are. I'm not driving to Dothan for them. Okay. But yeah. I'll wait till I come back to Ozark to get cigarettes because in Dothan, they're more expensive in most places. So, yeah, but it will bring more people here because they will see it cheaper, especially that younger crowd. Because when I was 25, I was dumb. And I would drive 10 miles to go get a pack of cigarettes at someplace that was cheaper, thinking I was saving money when I was spending it on gas.
Thank you.
But
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak for or against the vaping tax? Okay, so with that, I will call this public hearing to a close. At this time, we'll review the agenda for the following meeting. So after a call to order and the prayer and pledge of allegiance, the minutes from the special council meeting and the regular council meeting that were held on September 2nd, 2025 will be read. Council members, do you have any questions about those minutes?
No.
Okay. Item number 4 is to set the agenda. Item number 5 is the consideration of the ordinance to levy a local excise tax on the sale of consumable vapor products. Everything. Okay. So Chris has said everything. Are there any additional questions that any council members have?
No.
Okay. Item number 6 is a resolution confirming the cost of a weed lien at 545 Eufaula Street. Brett, is that still
No, it's good.
cut and good to go? Council members, do you have any questions on confirming that cost?
No.
They cut it or we?
We cut it.
We cut it.
We cut it. Item number 7 is the approval of a Wiregrass RC&D grant for the Autrey Recreation Summer and After School Program. Ozzy, would you like to speak on that?
Everybody. We have applied for a grant from the Wiregrass RC&D to replace some of our kitchen equipment. They gave us $5,000 and we're going to use that starting on October 1st to replace some of the fridges that we have at the Autrey Center.
Okay. Council members, does anybody have any questions for Ozzy?
No. That's for the upcoming summer program.
That's correct.
So it's just replacing equipment for the summer program. Okay. Any additional questions?
No.
Thank you, sir. All right, so with that, I will go out into the audience. Are there any department heads in attendance that have any comments or questions on any of the agenda items this evening? Is there anyone in attendance that has any comments or questions on any of the agenda items this evening? Is there anyone in attendance that has any comments or questions about any subject in particular? Okay, so with that, I'll go to final comments. Councilman Enfinger?
Fine.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes, I'd like to ask Chris I know we put bids out on the Civic Center for the liquor license, is that correct?
Yes,
And the deadline for those bids is that
25th.
25th of September?
Yes. No bids as of yet.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
Okay, reason why I ask is there's an event that's scheduled for the 18th of October.
Mhm.
And they were hoping that would have basically been finalized and that they would have the services rendered by some company for the liquor at that event. It's a gala.
Nobody puts a bid in, you won't have anybody.
Yeah, and that's what my concern is for the individuals.
We went through that last time.
They might want to
Last
get
time
someone
we
to request a special event license.
I couldn't hear you.
The special
A
event.
special
license.
event license from the ABC board.
Right. Just for that one event.
Sure.
Mhm.
Right, that's what I was getting to.
But they've got to go through the procedure, so
Right.
they don't need to wait around.
It's lengthy,
You have
so
to
you
get
wouldn't
it
want to
now,
wait
almost.
around.
You'd have to start now.
But the point is, we haven't received any bids.
Not as of yet.
Right.
Still got a week.
It's been out for how long?
Yes, Ozzy?
Ms. Bivens
That-
from that event, she
that's
has
correct.
been contacting Ms. Sarah from the ABC board. She's working on trying to get her own license for that event.
Okay, all right.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ozzy. So they are trying to get the special event license. Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Peralt?
Just, you have the ribbon cutting for Matthews Stadium Friday night at 6:30. All the upgrades to the stadium, showing that off Friday night. For the game.
Thank you. Councilwoman Harlow?
Um,
Okay. All right. And everybody pretty much covered that for me. And thank you to those who went to the Flower Center show on Saturday about Eagle Stadium. So with that, I will call this meeting to a close and we will begin the next meeting in 3 minutes. So with the approval of the grant, who has to sign the
They'll be in the report, so that's resolution. Resolution. Well, he had. That's what my staff.
We don't have to suspend the rules in consideration of an ordinance because we gave a notice prior. Correct? I'm not telling you, I've been researching this stuff for like a week and a half. Because I was like, just a weird questions.
I said, it'd be nice if we could hear it. I'm 42 years.
It's when all the municipalities are doing their passes on their state doing theirs.
How did this come out?
People can drive from those.
What did they decide on? Oh, you all have decided. Okay, yes.
Yes, sir.
I get the agenda too.
The state is already gonna do 10%, right?
No, they're gonna do 10 cent milliliter.
She noticed my comments.
That was passed.
She gonna straighten it out.
City
I'm not supposed to
council
do it.
to do 5.
Like a proposed says 10. We can do whatever, but the thing is, if we don't do it before October 1st of this year, then we'll never have the opportunity to do it.
So if we do it, whatever we do, does not add to what they're
I
doing.
was under
It does add to
for 8 months.
So they're
They're at 10 cents.
so that's gonna take it back to like 1% tax.
If you.
So if we do it tax as well,
It's obvious.
we get a 5.
Yeah.
And that's the question is, do we do that? Because it's per milliliter. I think a lot of people are thinking of it like a sales tax plus 10%. It's not, because it's per milliliter. So if we got like 10 cents, it would be 10 cents. Because some of these vapes are.
Well, actually, I'd argue against that.
Small tax now based on milliliter.
They're not being taxed at all right now.
No tax on vaping at all, even when you make a purchase in a vaping store, there's no tax.
No vaping tax.
That's why they're enacting it, because there's not one.
That's why we
Because
lost
it was such a new
$80,000.
product. That's all that they had on it.
I thought they had a 9% sales tax on
They have a
everything.
sales, they have a regular sales tax, but it's not like a tobacco tax.
Okay.
Just like the same way that your alcohol will have an alcohol tax plus a sales tax. Tobacco and like your lodging tax.
Got it.
Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
3 minutes.
3 minutes is up.
Who's doing the prayer?
Who's your prayer? Oh, goodness. Can you do the prayer? Can you do the prayer? Okay. Where's he at?
Get the hell. Winston.
Who's doing the prayer?
Stanley.
He's out all day.
I call this meeting of the City Council of Ozark to order. We begin this evening with a prayer led by Councilman Enfinger, and I will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow your heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you tonight as humble as we can, thanking you for your mercy and your grace and your love, Lord. We thank you for the city, the progress that we're making, Lord, and we just ask everybody would come together, Lord, and make Ozark a better place to live, Lord. We ask you to look over this meeting tonight, and as we make decisions, Lord, as we always do, Lord, we ask you to bless each person here, bless their families. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we will review the minutes from the special council meeting and the minutes from the regular council meeting that were held on September 2nd, 2025. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move that we approve the minutes from the special council meeting held on September the 2nd, 2025, and the minutes from the regular council meeting held on September the 2nd, 2025, as presented.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any additional discussion on approving these minutes from these two meetings? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 4 is to set the agenda for this evening. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I make a motion that we set the agenda as presented.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on setting the agenda as presented? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 5 is an ordinance to levy a local excise tax on the sale of consumable vapor products. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I introduce ordinance to levy a local excise tax on the sale of consumable vapor products.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Okay, I'll ask one more time. Do I have a second? Okay, therefore motion fails due to lack of a second. Item number 6 is a resolution confirming the cost of a weed lien. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I introduce a resolution confirming the cost of a weed lien at 545 Eufaula Street.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on confirming this weed lien cost? All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item number 7 is the approval of a grant for the Autrey Recreation Program. What are the wishes of the council?
Madam President, I move for the approval of the Wiregrass RC&D grant for the Autrey Recreation Summer and After School Program.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion on this approval for this grant? Oh, yes, absolutely. Glad to have it. All in favor of passing the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. So with no further items, I'll go to final comments. Councilman Enfinger?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilman Jackson?
I just like to commend our street department. They've been doing a lot of work lately around town, helping clean up the city. And, if I make no mistake, or make a difference, they will be coming up around the end of October.
It is, yes. They've started reaching out. So all of that information should be going out pretty soon. I believe it's October 25th. Hold on. Saturday, October 25th. Yes.
That's beginning at First United Methodist Church for the breakfast.
Yes.
Okay.
And then if you are not familiar with what that is, Make a Difference Day is, it's a nationwide day where anyone can just go help with any sort of project. And in Ozark, there are entities, First United Methodist kind of heads it up. So entities come to them and say, hey, I need help. And then as the volunteers descend that morning, they are distributed out to go help in local places in our town. And then it concludes with a lunch back.
Ozark Baptist Church.
The lunch is at Ozark Baptist. So it is a great community-wide day of appreciation and help. So, all right. Councilman Peralt? Okay. Councilwoman Harlow? Okay. So nothing additional from me. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion on adjourning? All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I call this meeting to a close.